Alcohol is the only drug where people are pressurizing you to take it. There are people profiting billions of dollars from our drinking habits. Movies, ads, celebrity brands, they all portray alcohol as something beneficial. We're bombarded with the upsides of this poison from birth. Well, today, we're challenging the status quo. In this video, celebrities brave enough to go against the grain give an unfiltered perspective on alcohol. If you want motivation to cut out drinking, watch this. These straight-talking celebs will reveal truths the alcohol industry doesn't want you to hear. Now get ready to see alcohol in a whole new light. The time has come to take back control of our health and our happiness.
I'm not a drinker. I can honestly say I never had a beer in my life. It's one of my only good traits. I don't drink. Whenever they're looking for something good, I say, I never had a glass of alcohol. I've never had alcohol. I've just, for whatever reason. Can you imagine if I had? What a mess I'd be. I'd be the world's worst. But I never drank, okay? But I can tell you, I watched that hearing, and I watched a man saying that he did have difficulty as a young man with drink. The one question I didn't ask is, how about the last 20 years? Have you had difficulty the last 20 years? Because nobody said anything bad about him in many, many years. They go back to high school. I graduated from high school, and while I did not drink, I saw a lot of people drinking. They'd drink beer, and they'd go crazy, and they were in high school. They were 16, 17 years old, and I saw a lot of it. Does that mean that they can't do something that they want to do with their lives?
Since I got into politics, because I do feel that I should be using my platform to talk about this, but it's been difficult to talk about it, first and foremost, because there's not an audience for it. I'm talking about drinking. There's not an audience when you talk about why people should quit drinking or stop drinking or drink less. Actually, left and right, if there's one thing that unites this country, it's the belief that we all deserve some cocktails, some alcohol, and some beer. And there is a social pressure, I guess, almost to say, to be cool by drinking alcohol. You see this all across Instagram, people with their wine glasses. If you are a fun person, you're supposed to partake in alcohol.
Poisoned myself on a regular basis, with alcohol. It wasn't anything that anybody else could cure, whether I had a girlfriend at the time or not. It had nothing to do with them. It was all to do with me and my brain and my heart. It was part of growing up, I guess.
I've never taken any substance for a party. I have taken these substances over the years, on and off, to numb myself of the ghosts, the wraiths that were still with me from my youth. I needed, everything. It was just self-medication. One of those get me out of here moments. And where you want to escape from is your own brain, your own head. There's no future in it, that there's nothing but a postponing of the inevitable. That one day you're going to have to face those feelings. One day you will meet those, let's call them demons from your youth. Pain. I was still in this, something strange that happens. You feel electricity in your body. You're just sitting there, like going through it. And I didn't understand what the electricity was. The electricity, that feeling lasted for a month, 2 months. And I finally realized I was feeling, that's what it was. I was actually feeling without the aid of the drug.
You may have heard about the moving conversation last night with actor Michael Douglas on David Letterman's show. It was about his diagnosis with throat cancer.
Douglas said he had complained to doctors earlier in the summer of a persistent sore throat, but the cancer went undetected for weeks until a walnut-sized tumor was found at the base of his tongue. The 64-year-old actor blamed his cancer on his lifestyle.
I smoked cigarettes and I drank, and this particular type of cancer is caused by alcohol and drinking.
Almost everyone knows that smoking causes cancer. Fewer know about the risk posed by alcohol.
It's strange growing up seeing your father and grandfather as giants projected on screens and billboards. How do you compete with Kirk Douglas? How do you live in Michael Douglas's shadow?
Michael, wake up! A child of that family is standing in the hall, getting ready to tell the story of how far he traveled before he could see his way back home. 3 years ago, Cameron Douglas was released from prison. His parents are alarmed. There are wilderness camps, juvenile facilities, even Hazleton Rehab. We count you will be in and out of rehabs 11 times before you're in your mid-20s. They didn't work. Why did nothing work?
Because I wasn't ready to change.
Do you blame your parents? Is
No.
there an ounce of blame?
There are millions and millions of little kids that have it way worse off than that little kid did. So it's just, everybody's dealt a hand, and it's how we play the hand.
I was apprehended in Kennebunkport, Maine for a DUI. That's an accurate story. I'm not proud of that. I oftentimes said that years ago I made some mistakes. I occasionally drank too much, and I did on that night. I was pulled over, admitted to the policeman that I had been drinking. I paid a fine, and I regret that it happened, but it did. I've learned my lesson. As I mentioned, many of you know that I quit drinking alcohol in 1986, and it was the right decision for me to make then.
Your use of alcohol has gotten you into a lot of trouble. Obviously, alcohol and guns don't mix. That's gotten you where you are today.
We went out to a restaurant and there was drinks going on, but alcohol was never my case. But was I drinking? To be quite honest, yes, I was drinking. So, this is one of the reasons I went out, tried to do some NBC. I was very good at it, but it was one day a week. Man, my life just started falling apart, and went out to a basketball game with my dad and my adopted children at the time. My sisters, all three of my sisters died, 2 of age, and I took their children out and we went out to watch a Globetrotter game and saw some of the guys that were on the team that were playing that night, and they needed some help. So I said, hey man, come back to my house. We took a lot of the players there. Some guys, it was nothing like the papers and everybody says it was a big party. It was kids there. We went back to eat. After we ate at the restaurant, the owner called a limousine because they came on their bus, a limousine to take them to my house. We met Mr. Christophe, who was the driver. We rented for the night. He was cool. He had dinner with us and told some jokes, and then we went to my house. And instead of me showing, Picassos and paintings and stuff, I started showing guns. When we were handing off shotguns in the room, in my bedroom, where they were locked up, just showing them this one and that one. Gun went off and hit Mr. Christophe and killed him. And instead of stopping and just saying, hey, we had an accident, I tried to cover it up. Why, I'll never know. I don't even remember what happened after that. They said I jumped in the pool. I believe them, and just came up, and just from being a coward, we went out to a restaurant and there was drinks going on, but alcohol was never my case. But was I drinking? To be quite honest, yes, I was drinking. This is one of the reasons, you still don't even realize you'll go back to drinking and then go, I want to do something to forget stuff. And then here it comes again, I have a disease that tells me I don't have a disease. And I think I can conquer that. And then before you know it, you'll be right back in the same situation, man. So this is serious stuff. And that's why I immersed myself into trying to help people where I'm at.
Your use of alcohol has gotten you into a lot of trouble. Obviously, alcohol and guns don't mix. That's gotten you where you are today. But where you go from today, how you handle the rest of your life, it's entirely in your hands, and you're going to choose your own path. We can all hope that you choose the right path, and you're going to pay the penalty for what you did. But thereafter, there's days going to come that you're going to be out of jail, and you're going to be on the street, and you're going to decide what you're going to do. Hopefully you can get the counseling you need. That'll help you find your way. And I am satisfied that you have expressed your regrets and your remorse for the harm that you caused. On the charge of hindering apprehension, which is the third-degree crime, on the charge of tampering with witnesses, which is also a third-degree crime, on each of those matters, it will be a 5-year term in state prison. On the fourth-degree count of aggravated assault, and given the fact that this is a Graves Act violation, which has been stipulated to and agreed upon by all counsel that this does qualify under the Graves Act, it will be an 18-month term, 18 months to be served without parole. On the charges of tampering with evidence, fabricating evidence, both fourth-degree charges, those also will be 18 months terms. The counts will all run concurrent to each other, so it's a net aggregate term of 5 years in state prison, 18 months to be served without parole. Good luck to you, Mr. Williams.
For people like me who are in recovery, you are born feeling empty on a certain level, and you are looking unconsciously or consciously to fill that. And if you want to be an artist, if you want to be an actor, if you want to be a musician, you think, man, if I ever make it, it's going to fix me. So then you make it, and it doesn't fix you. Now what? Hence the alcohol. It's exactly what it is.
How did you stop?
How did I stop? Well, I mean, it was 23 years ago, and I was just done. I was done. I'd had a run, it was fun, I liked it, I wouldn't go back and change it, but I had met a girl, my wife Cheryl, and it was going on the rocks, and it was because of my, wild ways, raising hell. And I knew that if I couldn't make it work with her, I was definitely not going to be able to make it work with anybody. I just had a moment of clarity, they call it, and I had been carrying around in my wallet. Now, by the way, I couldn't keep a pair of sunglasses. I lose my keys 20 times a day. I'm a spastic, and yet I was able to keep alcohol counselor's card in my wallet for a year. And so when I was ready, I had it, I made the call, and I've been sober for 23 years.
Part of me that's Ray Leonard, that's a good man, is an honest man, and there's Sugar Ray Leonard, who was ego-driven, who was a tough SOB in the ring, who had money, who had fame, and at some point didn't really appreciate it, but took advantage of that. And my first wife, Juanita, she always said, you two different people. And I used to get angry about that and go and have a drink. But then when my present wife, Bernadette, said to me, there are two of you, I knew there was a problem. Many moments, many nights or days, I will wake up and not remember what the hell just happened that night. I always knew I had a problem, just never admitted it to myself. I never believed it. And that's deadly, that's wrong. One day I woke up, 9 years ago I woke up, and life couldn't be better.
You've been through some fairly public, sad things recently. You've been divorced, and publicly you then spoke about what it was like to go through one of these things that not many men talk about, and many men don't think it's okay to get help for certain things like alcohol and other kinds of substance. Can you tell me, so that other people who are in that kind of situation might get a little bit of a boost from somebody like you if they need that kind of help?
I don't know. I mean, certainly for me, what I realized, I was running to things to avoid tough feelings, painful feelings. I just didn't know how to deal with them, and looking for anything I found that I use to escape those kinds of, difficult feelings. I don't know how better to describe it. I mean, that can be anything. That can be drugs, booze, Netflix, anything. I don't want to, at this point, to be running from anything. I want to sit in it. I want to feel it. I want to get through the rough night. And I found doing so, you come out the other side with a more profound understanding of yourself, a greater gratefulness for those in your life, and birds and the trees and everything else.
Nobody there that was really able to support me in the way that I needed to be supported. And I don't like to ask for help either. I want to be that strong, stoic woman. But I mean, when you see a happy-go-lucky girl for years suddenly on the floor in a puddle of mess and alcohol, you gotta know something's wrong. I did grow up around people that I felt like, I didn't realize till later, but I felt like used alcohol as medicine. It was off and on, but it wasn't, I would say, until after I had my daughter that I really realized that something was very wrong. And as you know, I went through postpartum depression. I didn't have any negative feelings towards my child. I just knew I was deeply depressed. And I didn't know where, the alcoholism was ending and postpartum was beginning, and I ran myself pretty ragged.
So where did you turn to for support?
The bottom of a bottle. It's not like people were pulling me aside and going, hey, you might want to go to a doctor and check on this depression stuff, because usually alcohol and drugs can be a symptom of what you're going through. I'd been struggling for a long time, and I just needed a break. 4 years ended up being the amount of time, and I definitely, absolutely did not expect it would be that long.
How are you today?
I'm good. It's an everyday battle. It really is. I'm grateful to say that I'm sober today.
Here's something. Best looking guy, best personality, much better than mine. But he had a problem. he had a problem with alcohol. And he would tell me, don't drink, don't drink. He was substantially older, and I listened to him and I respected, but he would constantly tell me, don't drink. But he would say it over and over and over again. And to this day, I've never had a drink, and I have no longing for it. I have no interest in it. Don't worry, those are only two of my good things. I don't want to tell you about the bad things. There's plenty of bad things too, but he really helped me. I had somebody that guided me, and he had a very, very, very tough life because of alcohol, believe me. Very, very tough life. He was a strong guy, but it was a tough thing that he was going through. But I learned because of Fred. I learned. And that's what I think is so important. This was an idea that I had where if we can teach young people just not to take them. When I see friends of mine that are having difficulty with not having that drink at dinner, where it's literally almost impossible for them to stop, I say to myself, I can't even understand it. Why would that be difficult? But we understand why it is difficult. The fact is, if we can teach young people and people generally not to start, it's really, really easy not to take them. And I think that's going to end up being a most important thing.
You say you don't drink. You don't drink at all? You just drink?
No, I'm not a drinker. I just never started. It was another one of those things my mom just never, was like, don't drink, don't do drugs, you're gonna die. Like, okay, it's just like in my head.
Yeah. But you put those chits in your bank of health and it shows up after a while.
It's true. That and like staying out of the sun. There was a time when I just didn't take sun at all, I think through my 20s and 30s, and it really saved my skin, I think.
And I understand also that you're into affirmations and meditation.
I am, very much so.
And how's that changed you?
A lot. I just feel like we all operate, and we don't even realize it, on such negative thoughts all the time. Mostly what goes on through our mind and our subconscious is negative. Like, oh, I could have done this better. Oh, I'm so dumb, I'm so stupid this. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's how we think all the time, and I never thought about how I think. And then when I started paying attention to my thoughts and changing them and saying, you know what, thank you for sharing that, brain or spirit or whatever's going on in there, but you know what, I am doing good, I am better, I am trying, and redirecting those thoughts to be more positive thoughts and affirmations like, me and my children are always healthy. I am, we live a joyous life. Things like this every single day really help redirect me from the beginning of my day. It's hard to do, but sometimes it just, out to the universe. I accept all the good things the universe has to offer. You know what I mean? Just things like that every single day just help you to start off your mind and your day in the right way, and it helps.
I genuinely believe this is a binary game. Either you keep yourself accountable or you're gonna be accountable to somebody else. I think a lot of people that struggle with fitness and health and fitness, and really probably in life in general in different disciplines, is they're unable to be accountable to themselves. I figured out that I needed a full-time health person that was not my full-time trainer, that was my full-time health person, meaning they only worked for me, period, end of story. That I would make that big financial commitment and that I would be accountable to that person. So I called Mike, I said, do you know somebody? And he said, what I would do, and I go, whoa, you're gonna give up all your other stuff? He's like, yeah, it's worth it.
Addiction doesn't discriminate. It doesn't care how rich, how successful, how fit or good looking you are. It doesn't care if you deny having it. But if you are truly, indeed, a drug addict or an alcoholic, it will take you down every time. So if you're one of the many millions out there that suffer in the darkness, unable to grasp the light, here's the truth. The truth is, you never have to use or drink again. There is a solution. It's a solution that's available to all, no matter how dire your circumstances. And that solution begins with a decision to set aside that fear of the unknown, raise your hand, and ask for help.
But 45 years ago today, I had a wake-up call. I was heading for disaster. I was drinking myself to death. I'm not preachy. I got a message, a little thought that said, do you want to live or die? And I said, I want to live. And suddenly the relief came, and my life has been amazing. And I have my off days and sometimes little bits of doubt and all that. But all in all, I say, hang in there. Today is the tomorrow you were so worried about yesterday. You young people, don't give up. Just keep in there. Just keep fighting. Be bold, and mighty forces will come to your aid. And that sustained me through my life.
To anyone out there who is struggling with their alcohol habits, I want you to know you're not alone. There is a solution if you're willing to take the first step and get support. Keep trying, keep fighting, and never lose hope that freedom and a better life are possible. I want to thank the celebrities for opening up and being so vulnerable and sharing their stories. By sharing our own stories, we bring light to a topic that has so much shame, embarrassment, and stigma attached to it. If you've enjoyed this video, I ask you, please leave a comment and like the video so it can reach more people. And if you're looking for help with your alcohol habits, check out all the free resources I have available in the description below the video. I really appreciate you being here, and I hope to see you on another video really soon.